Everyone, and welcome to this week's Inquisition with Mike Moans. I think this might be our 60th one, or 61st. I'm not 100% sure actually. But yeah, we've got Mike Moans back for No New Guest November. Hope you're all well this Wednesday. Won't be long till a big fat man enters your house, empties his sacks everywhere, and kids are happy. Much like the Catholic Church. Maybe I won't say anything about that. How are we doing anyway, folks? Thanks for all joining us tonight. If you've got any questions, don't hesitate. Throw them in the chat and we'll try and get them if we can. I just want to say thanks to everybody who's been joining us this wee journey that we've been on. It's been an absolutely amazing journey that we've been had, and to think that we've been on strong now for over a year. We're still getting guests that want to come on. We still have guests who want to return to come back on, which is always good. It's unbelievable for two random guys with no real thing in the hobby. Like, it's no different like Duncan Rose or Peachy or Suggs or Graham McNeil or anybody like that who can bring on the bigger guests like Walkgate Studios and all that who know people within the hobby. We're just two simple guys just try to get the hobby out to everybody, and I think that we've done quite well with that, with all the guests that we've brought on, the wide variety of guests that we've brought on. And I just wanted to say thanks to everybody who's came on, taken part, watched us, entered our competition. Remember, you can still join the competition. It's on our page. Tag two friends and you've been for some nice prizes. Audiobook of your choosing. Some brushes, some orange brushes, a terrain piece. I've actually just got them through this week from the guy that I bought them from. So yeah, we're getting them all sorted, and that's to say thanks for hitting us up for 1,000 followers. Yeah, Glover Gaming. It's Mike Moans, Twitch streamer. That's his actual username is Mike Moans, and he will moan. All we're going to do is ask him one question: how's Twitch been for you in 2024? What happened when you get 10 people doing a wee chain and it'll just go off and until he get cancelled? But I'm sure he's back on Twitch now.
I'll tell you what, before we get the guest on, do you want to see something?
Always.
Do you want to see what turned up today in a post that I completely forgot that I pre-ordered ages ago?
Nipples?
No, the superfluous third one is still there, don't worry.
Oh, no way. No way.
Yeah, I didn't want to get the whole game, and they didn't sell Master Chief as a single figure, so I thought, well, I'll also get some of these paints. And they turned up in a proper old school like plastic box, got everything dumped in it, and this is a live unveiling of this actually, by the way. I think it actually goes properly live Friday to purchase. I can't remember.
You seem to be getting all the pre-orders well early. Like last week, you got our affiliate Games Workshop hooked you up with a free copy of Kill Team, which everybody fell for, which was brilliant.
You're a dick. And then the mini, I don't know, it's made by Mantic Games, or American mob. But it's got its little sword and everything.
Ooh. Warpy's asking, what was Casey doing with the small yellow ball, trying to be the next Paul Daniels?
It wasn't yellow, and you'll find out what that's for later on in the show.
It's firing up Debbie McGee's front bum.
The base is well weird. It's actually like molded plastic. It's But
how much did that cost you?
I think 30. Which it was still the cheapest entry level item on the pre-orders, because the rest of it was just like the full games. I think there was one where it was like 4 or 5 models, and then another where it was like 10 models, and then all the terrain kits were MBS. So yes, Mike is here if you want to get him in.
I'll send him a request now. Invite. I sent you an invite there, Mike. So hopefully Willow will allow you to accept the invite, and we can get rocking and rolling.
They're all dropper bottles, which is pretty neat.
Sweet.
I have no idea what the comparison. Yeah, I know they're based up in Nottingham, but originally I thought they were an American mob. Sam, you might be able to correct me on that because I did have to email their head office and change some details over. And I tell you what, customer service from them was blinding. I emailed them, was like, "Can you help me out with something?" And they just emailed me straight back, like, "Yep, cool. What do you need? Bang,
I
sort
think it
it."
was just that one guy sitting waiting for an email, going, "Oh, I've got an email."
It probably was, you know. Wonder if his job's going at any point soon. I can do that.
Mike, if you, yeah, there he is. There
Yes.
is
Jokes.
the bearded, sexy legend that he is.
Hello, gorgeous. How you
Hello,
doing?
mate.
All right, mate. How you doing?
God, bloody cold, mate. I'm playing a game of chess where I'm like playing a game of chicken with the central heating. So, got my finest Ninja Turtle on, like living my best life.
Oh, sweet man.
Who
Mate,
can
it's
blink
the
first?
best.
You or the heating bill?
I'm not ready for it. I'm not. So, how we doing today, gents?
Yeah,
Yeah, good.
not bad, man. Not bad. Casey was just showing us a wee reveal that he got today. Something he forgot he pre-ordered.
Oh, man, tick games.
Yeah.
Fuck 'em.
There we go.
What have they done
Fair
to you,
enough.
Mike? Or what have they not done to you?
I won't speak on behalf of the company, but I don't like the people who work with them as volunteers at events. So that's all I'll say.
Fair enough. I didn't actually go to their event stand when I was at whatever the London thing I went to was. I can't even remember it.
Was it
Salute.
Salute?
Yeah, Salute. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually went down to Salute. I went on a single day trip from Manchester. So Manchester to London in a single the morning. I think I left at like 5 a.m. and then I ended up coming back. I think it was 4 p.m. and I spent, oh God, was it 10 hours traveling for like 2 hours of convention? The convention was a little limp.
I thought that.
It felt like they basically spread out the entire event and it didn't actually go anywhere.
Mm.
And
It,
it was a bit of a sad one for that reason. So
I think as
yeah,
well, like it's something me and the bloke I went with were talking about. Like we didn't go together as a couple holding hands, but we did get a bit pissed, and I think we ended up holding hands.
why fold?
But we both said it was too spread out. A lot of the people running their games are just very introvert. Like, this is our table, go away. You're just here because you like Louise Sugden or whatever.
Yeah,
And,
there was a lot of that.
yeah,
One of the big ones that caught me was that it was either historical or it was repeated the same thing.
yeah.
So if you're not into your historical, there's no point in you being there.
Mhm.
And they went, oh yeah, we've got the Titans Owners Club, and I was like, cool.
That was,
What do you
yeah.
talk to them about? Like, you bought a model the size of a toddler. Okay. So all their conversations the entire day are going to be, do you own one?
Yeah.
No. Why did you buy one? Because I can. Okay. I can't be doing that all day. Like, I've got some natural riz about me, and I couldn't be having that conversation 30 times a day. And then, admittedly, they were playing a game, looking like they're having fun. I have no problem with any of them. If you're in the circle, you've probably got an awful lot to talk about.
Yeah.
But because I'm not in the circle, I've not got much to say.
Yeah.
So I just end up kind of going, you have very pretty toys and more money
It
than I
almost
do.
that thing almost feels like a model railway club almost. That is nice to go along. You see all their layouts and stuff. Everyone's got their trains, but apart from that, which is their thing, not much else about them.
No. The other thing about the event that I thought was really funny is it's a very traditional wargaming event in the way that you walk in and you go, okay, so you've got Element Games to your left and you've got Wayland to your right, and then there's everybody else.
Yep.
And then you see the people, and I want to say they're smart people, but they're not. They're not. They walk in and they spend all their money at Wayland and Element Games, and then they go, ah, cool. There's an event going on. It's like, order them online.
Yeah.
They're not selling anything that's event exclusive.
Mhm.
Just like, all right, when it came to what was it, UK Games Expo, the Wayland Games crew had come and build your own Gunpla. They gave you a Gunpla kit, and you got to enjoy interacting with that. So the way the calendar works for me is I didn't do Salute until this year. This is kind of this and last year was the first year of me going to events. Because COVID, first of all, the events prior to that were things like Comic Cons and Games Day back when that was a real
Yep.
thing. And then there was this long period when I didn't do any. And then suddenly I would make decisions on like a Thursday to go, Saturday morning, I'm going to London, I'm doing this event for some reason. And I'd always justify it by going, yeah, it's work, it's fine. Well, it's work, I can make contacts. You don't really make contacts because unfortunately the era of the influencer has come to an end and it's damaged everything. Oh my God, the space we're in now from a year ago is so different.
Yeah, that's a fair
Um,
point.
but every single one of these events, the traders are miserable, man. They are miserable. And UK Games Expo is not so bad because they're constantly busy. They don't have time to be miserable.
Yeah.
But when I go to any of the larger events, and Salute was probably the most guilty of this. These people were just walking around aimlessly, and then they weren't getting sales, and then they were starting to feel pressuring to get sales, and then they were bored. UK Games Expo, a lot more interactive. I think it was like 63,000 people or something they did this year, maybe even 80. I can't remember. It was over 3 days. Great
Yeah.
event. If you do go to one event, UK Games Expo is by far the main one to go to. But by God, the people spending habits at events are terrible.
Yeah.
Like, I do genuinely think there is a Warhammer blindness in the community, and they do end up going to events and go, "Wow, this tank I saw on the shelf of my friendly local, I'll buy it now." What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
What's wrong with you?
I will.
And I wish it was just me joking about like one or two people, but it's not. I see it all the time. Like these queues at these like standard depots for like shipping basic stuff, and they go there and they fill up their entire basket with like generic model of the week, generic paint of the week. All right, we all pick up a bit of paint now and again because we need to replace it more often than we should. But what, like, go and find some little artisan person. Go find some like book place. Like, I love going for D&D books because there's a lot of small publishing that you don't find on the internet or is drowned out on the
Yeah.
internet. And it is a really good thing to find and seek out these people and actually see if they're full of shit. Because in the age of AI, so many people are just putting in AI prompts and going, that'll make a book. Great.
Mm.
Cool. Like the amount of calendars that were on sale. I actually ended up visiting Tabletop Scotland this year. First time at the event. This is a subsidiary of UK Games Expo. And it was an event, I kid you not, 80% of the space was open gaming, 20% were traders, and of that 20% trading space, there was probably about 4, maybe 6 unique stalls. It was all, there was one guy who was doing AI generated artwork, and it was published on coasters. There was a lot of people with laser cutters just doing like laser engraved wood, a lot of really shoddy 3D printers doing articulated dragons, and it was piss poor. Like, I don't normally judge an event harshly, but when you walk in and it's the same 5 traders and there's only 20 there,
So,
that's a problem.
comparing it to the Willy Wonka experience that we all see in Scotland try and do earlier on in the year, what would you say was the better option?
Was the Oompa Loompa there? That's, I think, what we want to know.
Oh, mate, there were some really angry Scottish women, I know that much.
Yeah, I mean,
I actually met up with one,
all
she was
Scottish
lovely.
women are angry. They're all
Same.
angry.
Same.
Like, that was a weird ass trip as well. You know, it was cheaper for me to get to Scotland than it was London.
Yeah,
That doesn't surprise me.
Right.
That really doesn't
So
surprise me.
I'm right in the little city of Manchester, right? And it's one of the amazing place where you can get a train to basically anywhere in the country. So you
Yep.
go to Scotland, and I can get a little lift into Bolton, which is about 20-minute drive, and then I got an entire lift on the train, 20 quid, 3 hours, luxury seating on one of them Transpennine Express. Beautiful train. I had a latte brought to my chair while I was sat there. 3 hours. I sat listening to a Macho Man Randy Savage audiobook, and it was beautiful. I left at 5 a.m. I got there at 9 after like an hour of fiddling in between and various other bits, and it cost me 20 quid. 20 quid to get
Yeah,
there, both ways.
don't. travel's a big deal for me because like my partner's family will live in Sunderland. Trains from London to Sunderland sometimes could go to like nearly 200 quid. You're like, for what? I'm sitting on a
I
train
mean,
for 5 hours. It's
you
cheaper
know,
for me to fly to Amsterdam from Gatwick. It's
so
mental.
when I went to Salute, they wanted 180 quid if I booked it a week in advance. On the day I bought it on that morning, I paid 105, and if I booked it 6 months in advance, I was paying 150. So I've stopped pre-booking train tickets now.
Yeah.
It's not worth doing. Look the week before you go, and if you get a good price for a reserved seat, get one. But 20 quid to get all the way to Scotland, like
Ridiculous.
it was mad. And then I just got a free bus from the city centre all the way to the venue, and that was it. And you got to remember with these wargamers as well, like certainly your Warhammer people, they're not just walking around like with a little lunchbox; they're carrying suitcases of armies.
Mm.
And this is something I've complained about with Games Workshop for years. Back when I played, I'd play £500 army, which would have contained a few orc vehicles, a few troops, a few whatever. It was a sizable 2,000 points.
Yeah.
Cost me about 500 quid all in, including your paint, your tools, your everything like that. And you used to carry it in one, maybe two of the little black cases, the iconic ones.
I've
And
got one,
now
yeah.
the poor Necron players, especially, they get out and then they fold out a cart and they're dragging a cart with them, full of these like shoeboxes and whatever else they're hoarding, to get an army anywhere. These events aren't viable for people on public transport anymore. So
No.
yeah, you imagine trying to take the train. I actually fell on my own kind of sword with my last trip. Was it the last trip? No, it was the one before that, GriffCon. If you ever get a chance to go to GriffCon, do check it out. It's southern based, it's in Harlow,
Yeah.
and if you're coming from anywhere outside of London, 99% chance you're either going to fly to Stansted and get a crossover, or you're going to, no, seriously, the plane is cheaper,
Yeah.
it's 75 quid, right? It's much cheaper, unless you're going from Manchester, but I'll come back to that. I go all the way into London, then back out, and it's a really easy trip, really easy. And I took a Rumble Slam wrestling ring for my new favourite miniatures game, which I'll go into a lot, I promise you.
Good.
And it's a 5 model miniature game. And I bought a laser cut MDF, assembled a ring, built the whole thing. All the boxes I could fit in, I could only fit it in a suitcase. So by getting into a game where I deliberately said, I don't want to carry an army, I don't want to carry suitcases, I ended up bringing a bloody suitcase, didn't I? So fell on my own sword there. But that one was a really nice convention. And I think this year there's going to be a little shift with it. It's very beginner friendly, very kind of like paint your first miniature, handful of traders, lots of tutelage, lots of stuff like that. But I've got a feeling, just by nudging and seeing the direction of the shop that hosts it, Griffin Gaming in Harlow, which is, by the way, the cheapest Warhammer I've ever bought, Jesus. Um, the way they're going to go is they're going to be pushing a small number of tournaments. So I think it's going to be like 10-player Blood Bowl, stuff like that. It's going to be Rumble Slam, it's going to be Warhammer, like Necromunda, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that, I'm not an organizer, but everything their store's doing is now bring a friend and play. Come and do this with that. And they've started reaching out into Star Wars Shatterpoint and the card games, competitive stuff like that. So I think we're going to see a whole new scene where it's going to be these more like, hey, we know gaming centres are getting harder and harder to run. So why don't we just do these big weekends where we all just meet up and play games?
Mm.
And I think there's going to be a lot of that coming. So that's what's got my warmth for the next year. I'm looking forward to that one. But I was down there this year and I was demoing Rumble Slam. If anybody's not familiar with it, it's a miniatures game based on pro wrestling, fantasy pro wrestling. It takes 45 minutes. The whole game's 5 turns. You need 5 models, if that. It's the most quick, low budget, fun, friendly game I've ever played. There's going to be a load of content on my YouTube channel, so if you are interested, just hop on there. But it's swift. My 10-year-old started playing it, and with the allegiance rules in the game, there's no real downside for kind of pick mixing anything. So what you can do is you can go, okay, I'm going to take that orc with that human with that ghost, and none of the allegiances matter. You lose a very tiny bonus. It's like a once per game, you get +1 for a round. And she sat there with all the models in front of her and went, that one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. And it's like, Jesus, that's how you get kids into wargaming. You just go, which characters do you like? Okay, they go together.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember watching you before you went to DriftCon. You basically spent a good 3 or 4 weeks painting those figures, up, and basically just browbeating everybody on your Twitch channel about Rumble Slam, and then going off in your wee tangents of like showing videos and showing rule cards and all that. I mean, yeah,
like this unit here is all wargaming. For anybody who doesn't have one of these, get one of these. These are amazing. This is a PAX wardrobe from IKEA. This shelf is called a complement, and just like me, it pulls out.
Hey.
And it's absolutely fantastic because I've got 1.5 meters worth of models that way and 60 centimeters of models that way. So I can see them all, reach them all. I can even unclip just here, there's a little clip on each side, lift the tray and use that as a gaming tray. Can you imagine storing your armies on that, how easy that is? So for me, I've got literally walls of D&D stuff. 3 of these shelves are now Rumble Slam. I had 0 at the beginning of the year. I had 5 models at the beginning of the year, and now 3 shelves are all of that. You'll find that there will be people who say I bullied them.
You basically bullied the entire Twitch, and I'm going to touch on this briefly, right? And it's probably why you get banned from Twitch and they shut down your Twitch channel for that small bit, because it was just anytime he had an opportunity to mention Rumble Slam, when he was taking breaths, taking cups of tea, when he went away for his breaks, came back, it was Rumble Slam, Rumble Slam, Rumble
You know
Slam,
what?
and it was brilliant. It was just
The
brilliant. I
millions
mean,
that
I'll watch your channel every day, more or less every day, as you know, Mike.
I do.
And your content is brilliant, and it's good to see so many people from Monley fans come on and watch us tonight as well. Thanks very much to all your Monley fans people for coming on tonight as well.
love that name. I love that, Monley fans. That's wicked.
It's fantastic. Like, honestly, I fell on my ass when it came to branding, and it couldn't have gone better. But for anybody who doesn't know me, I kind of joined mid-conversation, then hijacked it. Welcome. My name's Mike Moans. I'm one of the few people on Twitch who actually make content. There are a lot of people who ramble. There are a lot of people who don't do anything. The only thing they produce is a small stain thinking of what they could be producing while talking about me. And frankly, I came in last time as kind of like a grumpier, moaning, like, oh my God, you don't understand what social media has become. You don't understand what content creation's come. It's gone full circle. So things got really good for a week. And then we got like 51 more. And then I had some holiday time. It was lovely. So the way everything's come full circle now is during COVID, the age of the influencer went up, right?
Yeah.
And everybody went through this cycle of, okay, well, I've started streaming now, so I've become an affiliate of Element Games. Okay, now I'm going to plug Artis Opus. Okay, then it was Creature Caster. Okay, then it was Rival Crafts. Okay, everybody went through the same thing. Then they all went, oh, now we're all playing games on stream. We're going to do Stream Raiders. Then we're going to do Stream Racing. Then we're going to do Words with Friends. Then we're going to do Marbles. Everybody did it. It was literally everybody made the same content. Now, we lost a lot of content creators during the big purge of back to work after COVID. And reality set in, people realised this wasn't a job, or the real world came calling, and it all went back. I've stuck at it now. We're in our 4th year. I've gone. I think the last time I spoke to you, I had a viewing average of about 40. I'm now, as of today, I think it's 67. So I've grown 50% in a year. So I've done pretty well.
And that was after Twitch like shutting down your channel for a week or two.
Oh my God. I'm going to come to that. This is the like the rise and the fall of Mike Moans, Jesus. So one of the things that happened, I told you last time I had some problems with various people, and I had problems with the standard quarrels.
Yep.
I got a Twitch ban, and this is because Twitch has changed what goes on the back end. Now, Twitch fired loads of staff. They made it very vocal. This was about a year ago, 18 months ago. And they've implemented more automated services. Now, this has particularly hit the VTubing community right now. For anybody who doesn't know a VTuber, it's an animated avatar that overlays their webcam presentation. So because the bots are now refereeing us, I got flagged because my username is too sexual. It was great. Like, do you know when they banned me?
It was halfway through a stream.
halfway through a level 10 hype train. I was literally making them money, and they went, "Oh no, we're not having that. No, no, that Mike Moan's far too powerful. We can't let him be doing that."
We
I'm
can't
sure
let him
you had a
get to
sexy
level
range.
11. And I was watching that day, and like it was like, has he just went offline like mid
Yeah.
hype train?
But that's not even the start of the story. That same day, I was hit by a Vietnamese hack. They call it the Vietnamese hack. And what it is it's a MetaQuest hack. They breach your data on MetaQuest for Facebook, Instagram, all the other stuff, and they hijack your account. This was February 29th, same day as the ban. I will always remember that day. It's called the fucking. So on the fucking, my account got hacked at 10 a.m. in the morning, and I couldn't log into my Facebook. And my Instagram's attached to my Facebook. Turns out this hack, they jump in on your Instagram account, pay for a load of adverts, then ban you so you can't use your account. So I permanently lost my Facebook. Still not got it back. I can't get it back. I managed to separate my Instagram account, but I've lost my Facebook. So that one day, I lost nearly 18 years of my personal history, all my contacts, all my everything. Then later on that day, Twitch hit me, and I lost all my professional stuff. So they deleted Mike and Mike Moans simultaneously on that one day. I had phone calls for the next 48 hours asking if I killed myself. Like, because I was gone. If you imagine, I'm on the internet all the time. Like, I'm basically Skynet at this point. And that one day, so many people thought I died. And that was the beginning of my problems, not the problem itself. It got so much worse. So what happened is Twitch reinstated my account after 3 hours because people spammed them on Twitter. I had loads of people going for it. The Monly fans represented that day. They were out and on it. And they reinstated my account, and they cost me 2,000 followers. 2,000 disappeared. So people were going, yeah, and what? It's just followers. Actually, it was not. It was my Patreons. It unfollowed them. So these are people. Some of them are paying £50 a month to watch me. They don't have to, but they volunteer £50 a month, and they were unfollowed. That's like that wouldn't happen. You don't unfollow it and then keep paying money. So it just cleared off 2,000 of my followers. Within 3 hours of somebody noticing that, I got emails from sponsors going, "Hey Mike, we've noticed that you've lost your following now, so we're going to discontinue support." "Oh, hey Mike, we've noticed you're below the 3,000 threshold now, so we're going to discontinue support." I lost £8,000 in one day of my annual budget. You imagine working for 3 years, nearly 4 at that point, and they just cost me 8 grand of my entire budget because Twitch made an error. So Twitch have reinstated my followers. They did it after about a week. A lot of these brands didn't get back to me and just left me. A couple of them did apologise and went, "Oh, really sorry," and I dropped them. I went, "Nah. If you're willing to drop me that quick, without even contacting me first, you could bite my banger, mate." So I left them behind, and I've now spent the last year recovering, and I've added 50% to my business. So I am not financially where I was, but my business is better than I was. So the reason it cost me so much money is because it was a lot of like brand deals that were sponsoring me by the stream. So they're very rare to come by for streamers, and I'll get into this even more later, Jesus. And when you lose those, it immediately devalues them. So the next person who picks them up gets a lower rate, and then they go lower and lower and lower. So the industry will permanently suffer for this. Yeah, this is my comeback, and it's been something. So the good bit of news is we now have a miniatures and models category on Twitch, which has changed the game. The smaller creators are getting regular discovery now. The bigger streamers have got their ego back, so they're now giving back to the smaller streamers as part of the circle of cult worship. And we've got all new eyes on the brand, on just miniatures in general. It's actually really funny because Warhammer isn't in the top 3 streamed. When you look at what models are actually being streamed within the miniatures, Warhammer's not the primary models anymore. There's a lot of people who've been doing busts that have been at the top, a lot of 3D prints that have been at the top. Don't get me wrong, there are people who do Warhammer who will sit at the top of the category. But if you look on the regular, it never used to be that way. Now, I know it used to be a Warhammer category, but nobody believed that. It was just a miniatures category. And it's now regularly third, fourth, sometimes even fifth place. I watch this stuff all the time because I'm one of the only people who realise that you shouldn't be looking to other influencers. You need to be looking at marketing, because this is why people are just going round and round in circles and chasing their own tail while I'm chasing ass.
Because
So
one of the things that you mentioned on, I think when you came back was, and I think it's maybe a new thing, mentioned it fairly recently, was people raiding you and then asking you to raid them back or something.
yeah, they do it. So there's a few techniques people use. I actually moderated for a stream the other night, and I caught somebody out doing this, and it was really funny for me. So you got the first type who's going, "Hey, I've given you a raid. I'm going now. I'll catch you next time when you return the favour." Then you've got the other type who pop in. They're called the fishers. They come in. They go, "Hey, I'm off to do my thing. Bye." And then they go, "Ah, yes, Mike Moans will think of me when he goes to raid, and you'll see me, and he'll go, yes, I'll jump into their stream." I bloody well won't. And then you've got the other people who are far more aggressive about it, and they'll either offer you money, threaten you, which has happened before, or they will come up with some kind of ploy that's like an incentive, like, "Hey, if you raid me now, I'll raid you on Thursday." Thursday comes, they never raid. They never. They don't give a shit, because this is something a lot of people don't realize about content creators, certainly full-time ones. We live in a perpetual state of deja vu and repetition and Groundhog Day. So I have the same conversations every single day. Like, I live in this room every single day. I do the same spiel every single day. So when you ask me what happens on a day, I don't know. They're all the same. So when people tell me, and this goes for everyone, they all go, "Oh yes, on this day we're going to do that," and they don't remember it. They don't. Bless them. I completely understand. They're not being like malicious, but by God, it's weird seeing it from the other side.
Would you say?
So
Would you say then, because you've witnessed it, when you never witnessed it, you're more oblivious to it when you're streaming, and then it's only because you were moderating for somebody, you seen it in its truest form then?
I think the reason I was more open to it as a moderator is because they played a trick I hadn't seen since mid-COVID. They came into the stream and went, "Hey, you look like you're having a great stream. I tried to raid you, but it didn't work." They didn't. So I went, "That's weird. This is a new streamer I helped set up. I'm actually managing quite a lot of baby streamers nowadays."
Oh, cool.
And I kind of took a step back and I went, "Okay, well, the moderation settings are fine and the raid settings are fine. And as long as your stream is older than 1 day, you're welcome to raid. There's no problem here." So what I did is, they were streaming in the card game simulator category. That's the game they were playing. And oh boy, this person was dumb. They ended up they did a stream, which was the very first thing I checked. The first thing, did they actually stream? Because quite a lot of people say they did and they didn't. You go to their VODs, they had a stream that day. I then went and I looked at the times. There was no way they could have raided. 25 minutes out easily. And then the next thing was, if the person I think it was Lexi at the time, if the person was on 30 viewers, I checked those that had 35, and I also checked the ones that had about 30. So anyway, give and take of the 32 I think they had at the time, I looked. Same person said the same message in each of those chats. "Hey, tried to raid you, wouldn't be done." Expecting, "Oh, I'm sorry, let me follow you and hopefully I can..." It's all scammery now. It's bad. It's like, I play a thin game. I do a lot of bullshit to do what I do, and I'm very open-handed with it. This year, if I had to define it differently to make this a little bit different from my normal whinging, this is the year where I went, right, I've laid all the groundwork. People know who I am now. I need to start claiming rewards for being Mike Moans. I need to start realizing that if I put out emails and I get rejected, that's their loss, not mine.
Mm-hmm.
And the mentality of it I've always had, but now I feel like I can actually justify it a lot more.
Yeah.
So I sent out some emails, and I ended up being overlooked for something that took me a little by surprise. And I can't go into the details of the contract, and I can't go into the details of what it was, but I did some work for a celebrity. This is a celebrity that is on TV. They've done multiple roles. They've done multiple stuff. They're very featured in nerd communities. If somebody went, "Hey, who's Queen of the Nerds?" you probably know who it is. And I did some work for them. And it was kind of backhandled by 3 or 4 other creators, and it went all the way through and trickled down. None of them had the initiative to find out where the work came from. And they just went, "Yeah, I'll take this money," which was at the time 30% my normal fee. None of them had the initiative to go and find out where the money came from. Nobody had an idea to check out who was this. And this year, I have started figuring out where money comes from for these content creators. First of all, it doesn't. The budgets are tiny. Second of all, the tree is so much taller than you think it is. You go through PR agencies, you go through social media consultants, you go through social media managers, a whole load of bots and affiliations and all these things. Eventually, I managed to find a fucker and pin him to a cross. And from then, it has changed my entire management of how streams are run. And I don't need to sell people my work, I need to sell them my time. And now I don't care what work they send me, they're paying the same. I don't care if you've got an infinite budget or a small budget, this is my set price. And it really like dawned on me, the psyche of the streamer, that I think it could easily be a division between the YouTubers and the streamers, but they don't know how to job, and they keep going, "Oh, I do so much. I do a lot, don't you?" Yeah, you do. Okay, how many invoices have you wrote this month? Oh, 0. Oh, because you just do work for your friends.
Mm.
Oh, okay. Okay, I bet you submit that on your tax reports, but hey ho. And it is amazing just how different that the world seems to be now for content creators. Everybody just thinks they can just dip their toe in and walk away, and that doing the minimum is good enough. TikTok's partly to blame. In fact, CapCut is most likely to blame for a lot of this, because you can create a YouTube short, a TikTok video, an Instagram reel by getting a template, uploading a selfie, or putting some text over somebody else's video. To prove this, I made YouTube Partner in 4 months just by doing.
Would you say though that if it wasn't for the fucking happening in February, that you wouldn't be in the place you are today, like more business savvy? Do you think so? Was that really, even though it was shit at the time, would you say it was actually a blessing in disguise at that now when you look back at it and take a step back?
The second it happened, I knew it was a blessing.
Right.
The second it happened. And you'll all might like, "No, you're full of shit, you were hurt." Hurt, yes. Blessed, yes. There's 2 sides of content creation. Oh no, shit's happening to me. Yeah, shit's going great. If you're sat in the middle, nobody gives a fuck. Nobody gives a fuck. It's the status quo. If things are going badly, people rally behind me and they push me forward. If things are going well, they go, "Hell yeah, we're going to keep going with you." So you need to be at one of those sides of the spectrum, give or take any day. So the second it happened, I realized this could not have gone further the wrong way. And then every single person, they represented me, and every person that I'd made an impression on, and some strangers as well, they all came forward at once. One nation under moans, and they moved it forward. And they just went, "Now, this is, you've given us every hour of every week. We're giving you a couple of tweets, a couple of bits like that." 3 hours, I got my account back.
Yeah.
I had all new momentum, all new anger, a new story to tell, everything. And I just pushed forward. Like the year before when we spoke, I was messed around by other people. They fucked with me. I fucked back. And I felt like a battering ram. And it pushed me to a whole new level of content. Every single time somebody has stood up to me, every single time that things have gone wrong, I've come out the gate strong. And it has genuinely made me so bullheaded when it comes to what I do that I don't doubt myself. 90% of content creators fall because they start doubting themselves. Either they don't start or they doubt themselves. And you
Honestly,
see,
you have given me some golden reels already, and "I fuck like a battering ram" is definitely one of the shots that I'm going to make
mate,
out of this.
feel free, just tag me kindly. But
Of
yeah,
course, man. Of course.
there was one email I got, and I won't tell you where I got it from because I don't want to get you guys in trouble. But but I reached out through a sign up for being a reviewer for a brand to send me some toys and for me to promote said toys, which is a work you should never take on, by the way. And I'll again touch on that later. But the idea was I get on their list, I do this stuff, I make this content, and they share my work, they do the stuff, right? How do I put this politely? They sent me an email back saying your work is valueless. And I kid you not, this is one of the big three, right? They sent me an email saying your work has no value. We don't need you. We don't need any Twitch streamer. You either need to start doing YouTube or you need to stop wasting our time emailing us back.
Mm.
The age of the influence has gone, people. It's gone. It's
The
long
arrogance
gone.
of that reply, though, that's pretty fucking brutal. A nice, polite, no thank you.
They're on
But
the nice side of Europe.
oh,
That's all I'll say. And they basically sent me that, and I went, okay, 4 months later, YouTube partner. And that's what tickles my balls and just gets me fired. Like, the second that I got that email, I went, you are 100% right. Like, my work is valueless on Twitch. And my entire psychology, again, changed. If anybody here is a Twitch streamer, and I know there's quite a few people in the chat, politely, your work is valueless. Now it's me accepting mine and me telling you exactly why it is. And the reason for it is it's immeasurable. If I want to fudge a number on Twitch, right? Let's say I want to do a stream promoting jacket potatoes, one of my favorite things, right? I go live that morning, Mike Moans, hot jacket potato action, whatever the title is. I hit go live, Twitch tracker now registers that's the name of my stream, and I can show the stats for that as my stream. Within 4 or 5 seconds of going live, I change it to Mike Moans painting standard shit. And then the Twitch tracker, I can send a screenshot of going, wow, Mike did 30 million views of my amazing thing that they were promoting. I didn't do it. Like, I didn't. And they can't catch me because I've got no VODs.
yeah.
So they come on and they go, oh, okay. And I go, sorry, I've not got VODs. It's for my own safety. And you immediately have proven nothing. You have no value doing that. It is cheating. It is 100% cheating. This is me outing people for what they do. And I've literally, if a brand tells me, I had a brand do something really rude to me not too long ago, and that's exactly what I did. And then I started painting their own stuff off stream and on my unpaid time. And it was so rude the way they dealt with me that I went, I don't have a problem with this. You didn't pay me. I'm not contractually bound to do anything. And you imagine if everybody clocked on to doing that. You imagine just how easy that would be. I learned something from Rebecca Goodwin, the sex worker of the UK, who is perpetually in the Daily Mail or something or other, right? She's the one who, I can't believe I'm saying this, she's genuinely one of my social media idols. She's brilliant, right? Nothing to do with the hoo-ha and all the other stories and the boobs that look angry at each other. Nothing to do with that, right? It is 100%. She said on one TikTok that I caught up through browsing, she said, if I show you this dress on stream, it's technically content, it's tax deductible.
Fucking hell. That's clever.
How do
And I
Like,
went,
so, like, well, we all know there's a lot of like, we all love the female content creators, right? And this is no besmirching any of them or that. But what do you think of the ones that seem to be doing it as a kind of first thing? Well, like, I'm painting minis, but come and see my OnlyFans.
oh, God. You're going to open a can of fish here, mate. Right. Let me finish off this story and I'll fly into that one. The OnlyFans girls, content creators, and sex workers, and the general culture around it, they have to know what they're talking about. They are so much smarter than we are.
Mm-hmm.
I will give them so much credit. Number one, they are much safer online with their identity. They're so good at that. Number two, their tax, their payment, and their business requests are in order. Everything is certified. Everything is above board. 99% of the time, because it's all through a reputable service, they are switched on and they are good. If you want to get content creation advice regarding the back end and the actual, not the back end, but the behind the scenes, if you want to get content advice, don't talk to mini painters, don't talk to Twitch streamers, talk to a few higher end YouTubers, but talk to these only, not like through their OnlyFans. Don't go, hey, nice muff, by the way, about my trending numbers. Don't do that. Like, if you actually know any who will genuinely give you advice, take that in. They are some of the wisest people I've met.
But there's some of them that paint minis now as well, and you're thinking, like, it's a good business idea.
It is. What does sex work and Warhammer have in common? Warhammer is lonely men painting models, and sex work is lonely men watching models.
I thought that was a joke there somewhere. I thought I was waiting for a punchline.
It sounds like a joke, doesn't it? But it fits really well. The currency is lonely men, and this is what a lot of our country, a lot of our politics, a lot of our finances, a lot of our social everything, a lot of it's lonely men. So if you want to find a captive audience for OnlyFans, you're going to where the lonely men are, and it just so happens that the lonely men happen to quite often be in Warhammer. So there was the Dark Day. We need to talk about the Dark Day. Oh, the Dark Day.
Just before we go on to the Dark Day, I've been trying to think all day and last week of trying to get a really smart segue into mentioning our sponsors, but I really can't. So people,
don't talk about that. Jesus.
But if you don't already, give Orange Brushes, our sponsor, a follow. They do actually quite reasonably priced sable quality brushes, sable quantity brushes. They're out of stock this now, but they're bringing more brushes in this month, and they've actually added 2 brushes to their range. And if you do buy them and they come in stock, use the word Inquisition in capital letters, and you'll get 10 at checkout, and you'll get 10% off, and it's free shipping in the UK as well.
And they're decent brushes too. Okay. We can promise you that.
Not tried them myself, so I'll have to give them a go sometime. Right, going back to the age of the Dark Day, and this is coming back to your point, Dunk, I promise you. There was one day on Twitch, 18 hours. It was the most beautiful horror show I've ever witnessed in my life. It was horrific. Twitch changed the wording on their T's and C's. I don't know if you heard about this. They allowed body painting. They allowed artistic nudity. They changed their wardrobe policy. And they did a couple of other things around basically female-based content and artistic nudity. What people don't say is Twitch is my first OnlyFans. It's the absolute truth. I'll expand on that, but bear that forward when I'm talking about the next bit. On that day, everything in the art category went incredibly dirty, horrifically so. The very first artist was a gynecological view, I'll just say that, of a drawing of somebody like full-on field goaling, in depth, very in depth, like the full depth, just a drawing of their persona. Like it felt like one of those carnival games where I was just going to sit back and go, "Ooh." That was the top one. Then there was twerkathons all the way down. There was so much furry porn, I genuinely thought I went unconscious into some kind of like Dumbo-esque horror show. And every single stream in the art category was pushed down for all this nudity that kind of rose up. 18 hours later, Twitch went, no, we didn't mean that. We just thought you could do body painting or artistic drawings and interpretive dance. And suddenly all the cake smashers were being banned, the twerkers, the VTubers. There was this culling on Twitch where all of these people who abided by the 18 hours rule were suddenly banned because the bots didn't catch up. So on that day, they lost so many content creators to temporary or permanent bans, all because of that. But the dirty secret is Twitch wants these people. They want them desperately because that's what people pay for. And if you think about how smart we were as teenage boys, or how smart people thought we were as teenage boys, right? If I wanted to find a creator and I was like, yeah, she got some nice boobies, right? And we went, okay, I want to support their content and get their paid adult content. You can't just sign up to bigbangers.net and put in your mum's credit card. But if you had your own account and you gifted some subs on Twitch, who's going to know? You've
Mm.
just supported a streamer on Twitch. You've done something completely adequate. So there's a lot of husbands, there's a lot of like teenagers, and there's a lot of stuff getting into the content creation appreciation of sex workers through Twitch.
Mhm.
Genius on behalf of the sex workers, because OnlyFans is so saturated. If you actually look at the stats for OnlyFans, the top 0.5% make 99% of the money, while the Avon representative is making probably about 50p. But when you tell everybody that, hey, women on OnlyFans on average are making this amount of money, and the average is 99% of the money on one stack to the small
Yeah.
number of people, you've got this really good kind of promotional average and this delusion of grandeur that you tend to find. And it's a really interesting thing because it's trickled down so deep into Twitch, so deep. If you give 25 gift subs, you can join me for a game of Minecraft.
Yeah.
If you do this, and it's like, well, they're not breaking any rules,
Mhm.
kind of. They're not doing this, this, and this. Just again, so much respect for their wisdom. If you told me I have an identical market on another platform that I'm not using, and I don't have to do half the work, or I don't have to do X, Y, and Z, you would
Yeah.
jump at that.
Oh,
That's what I've done. I've done it 1,000 times. I've realized I've got some really good wisdom in my bank for knowledge, setting up OBS, running bots, running stream, marketing, all this. I have baby streamers that should be paying me for the amount of wisdom that I like. If you ever went on a training course, you'd pay for it.
yeah.
So why would you not pay a streamer who mentored you? I
Yeah. Yeah.
don't do it because these are people who are my friends. These are people who I really get on with. But if I reached out to a stranger on the internet and went on Fiverr and said, hey, pay me 300 quid, I'll set you up a stream and get you your first 500 followers.
Mm.
That's a service people pay for all the
It is.
time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And
this
we've
is,
seen it on here. We see it on Instagram. We see it on YouTube all the time.
yeah,
It is just there for the taking. And again, even you mentioned like that. I've seen it on. Not that I make a habit of going out and having a look at the old boobs, but you
they
get them out
exist. We,
there, and they do that as well in that market. You sort of say, you're saying, I'll set up your OnlyFans and I will get you X amount within minutes,
yeah,
and people pay for it because it's just one-off payment, and then you've got regular income coming back in.
exactly. And it is so much easier to get money out of people who are in a spending audience.
Mm.
If you look at the models category on Twitch right now, right? If I load up any stream, I bet about 40 to 60% of the audience are other streamers supporting said streamer.
Yeah.
My audience is a lot. It is an awful lot. And it ends up with it being this kind of, okay, so you watch me, so I watch you, and they watch them, and this and this. So there's no money in the pool because all the streamers are poor. The content numbers are going up, but the audience reach is going down.
Mhm.
This one of the campaigns I talked about earlier. They were like, "Hey, we're going to pay you to promote to this many people," and they paid 10 content creators who all had the same audience.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, there's no value in streaming anymore. Going back to my point, um, and it's mad how it all goes round. So when you look at these new influx of people and you see their background and stuff, first of all, I try not to put them all in the same category. Um, who cares how you pay your bills? I
Yeah.
don't like, as long as your bills are paid, don't be shit. Um, but I do think Twitch has a lot to do regarding safety, and it's scary how many people are being exploited. It's scary to see how easy it is to hide money transactions through Twitch. And when you start looking at it that way, as a long-time content creator, it's actually quite worrying to see the trend. Um, Again, they tried to change the rules to make it a more sex worker friendly space. It's nothing to do with artistic nudity. Who gives a shit about artistic nudity? And when you start realizing just how business orientated absolutely every part of it is, it changes your view of everything. And there's an ugly part of it as well, where it's like, is this my friend, or are they buying attention? Because one of the first things I did was start looking into the psychology of the consumer, the idea of the membership economy, the idea of what is the most important currency on the planet, and it's a feeling of importance. That's what everybody wants. They want to feel validated. They want to feel witnessed. They want to feel important. No matter how poor they are, if they feel important, they don't give a shit. That's what they want. So, as a content creator, you need to make sure that your viewers feel important, and you need to justify that. But if you make people feel important and you use that at your own expense, it drains you. So there are viewers I've seen for years who've never given me a penny, but they've been there every single day. If I don't talk like in a certain manner, they check in on me going, "Hey, mate, you're a bit off today. What's up?" Invaluable. Love them. But you get other people who think that because they pay a £2.15 into your account every so often, that they own you. And that's becoming a rising tide on Twitch. The idea of basically renting a content creator is becoming incredibly frightening. And if you look at your finances, I bet most people's audiences have probably 4 people who make up 60% of their income. And I tell you now, I had one summer where 3 of them got sick and I couldn't make rent. That's the other thing. So you imagine how much you need to start spreading yourself content-wise to get into new audiences, because you need to start realizing that your 4 content paying people aren't going to keep you in business forever. And I would rather have 300 £2 donators than one person do like 600. I know it's more work, and I know it's more effort, and I know all the pandering that goes with it, but it is so much more worth it.
I think you're slightly different from a lot of the people that I would watch if you're not on, or when you come off, or before you come on. Like, you're always giving back to the community as well. Like, I even found myself messaging you, was it 2 or 3 weeks ago, a month ago, because I thought your X or your Twitter account had been hacked.
Yeah,
Because it was giving away.
it was
Because
really
there
weird.
was like some camera thing, and I was like, oh fuck man, he's been hacked. He is going to lose the plot. So it was like 5 o'clock in the morning, and there's like this tweet from Mike Moans, like, he should be sleeping. Like,
Yeah.
you've got such a good wee community that you've built over the last 4 years as well. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I think you are one of the. You're probably one of my favourite Twitchers, Twitchers, because your content, like, I can put you on and just leave you rambling in the background.
Yeah.
And
Or
check
invite me on.
or, do you know what I mean? Like, throw in a wee comment in your chat, or it's just having that person there, and when you're working at home next to you, I feel, and that's what I like about your streams, like.
The reason I run my stream, and I genuinely appreciate the confidence in what I do, as well as your time, your energy, your effort, and the compliment itself. Please do not let that go without saying. I have one rule on my stream. One rule. My word is gospel. And the second that fails, I want you all to turn on me, because I won't recommend a brand I don't believe in. I won't stand up for a person I don't believe in. You don't see me giving out like terribly poor sloppy toppies for a free paintbrush here and there. Like, I ironclad put every ounce of who I am and what I say into every decision and everything I make. They had me wear a maid outfit as a kitty girl maid, and it was one of those things where they didn't reach the goal. I can't remember how stupid it was. All these things didn't happen, but when the fucking happened, and I was rebounding, it was like, I have no reason I need to do this. I have no reason. Like, they didn't do this, they didn't do that, it didn't unlock. I'm just going to turn up and wear it, and I hope these people support me. And they were so happy to see it. They're still running on about it now. They tell everybody who will listen, Jesus Christ, they tell everyone who will listen that I was sat there as a kitty girl. And it went on and on and on. And that one stream, I think as a community, it kind of clicked something where we went, no, we do have each other's back. Like, it wasn't just a content creator pandering for attention or trying to get his own way or anything like that. It was a two-sided street where it's like, actually, yeah, he does feel indebted, and he will sell his shame for a little bit of a thank you. And I think it's, because I can't go around giving a tenner out to everybody, go, oh, thank you for watching, you deserve a treato, you do this. But I can make you forget. And I think that's one of the most important things. Last week with the US election was one of the darkest weeks on Twitch. There was this genuine like cloud of gloominess over everyone. Either people didn't want to talk about it or wanted to vent and couldn't talk about it, and they were all really gloomy. For a week, I had to burden people's fears, shames, panics, opinions, moderate everything. It was the hardest week I have ever had as a cut. Bearing in mind the fucking and all the other stuff, that was the hardest week last week. And I could not have imagined half the content creators I know having the stomach to do that. I actually was telling people, like, hey, don't stream. This is your week off. This is your sign to take a holiday. Don't stream this week. It's bad. Don't do it. And luckily, some people took my advice. Other people didn't, and then came back to me and went, Jesus. So there is a burden. And the gift I have is I'm very resilient. I am, whether you can put that down to bullheadedness, arrogance, whatever, I'm very resilient. And when people are all bringing this negative energy, I just plowed through it. And people were so grateful just to forget about the big everything, that they could just sit there and zone out to hear some guy rambling about how his cat bullied him this morning. And it was really rewarding. And somebody said something, it was a private message I got, I won't out who they were, and they went, Mike, I don't think you realize how important it was what you did this week. Thank you. And I was just like, I just turned up for work. I'm not even wearing pants. And I don't think we appreciate how much content creators distract people from harsh reality.
Yeah.
And it is, we should be honoured in what we do. And this is why I think people get very defensive about what they do on their content. Um,
I just wanted
one
to
of,
say, Yehan, he does have a cat. Willow has our own wee stream camera. We can feed her treats. He's got points that we can redeem and give her treats.
she's not
Send you any
here,
points.
but this is her setup. She's got her own camera, heated bed, so this is permanently live. She gets treats drop fed to her if you use your channel points. So it's pretty Gucci.
We
And it's
only
like,
tune
oh,
in for
nothing.
the only reason we tune in is for Willow. Let's be honest.
I don't know. Like, people tune in to see me get abused by Willow. Does that
Yeah,
count?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It was so horrible last week. Somebody made a clip of it. I had to delete it. This is an embarrassing story, but I'm going to say it anyway. She jumped off the desk. She had her claws out. She was dangling from my scrotum after accidentally jumping on my lap badly. Couldn't let go, and I got a piercing complimentary in my cat, and I had to keep face and do stream. And people were laughing their arse off, and I went up 3 octaves. It was horrible, man. Like, show must go on and all, but Jesus, anybody who's got a cat and streams, credit to them. Like, I have to really manage my space around her. You'll notice if you go through my Instagram, you look at my pictures, there'll be cat hair on everything. Can't get rid of it. Like, it's like a hide and seek, every single one. Like, hey, where's Wally? Where's Willow's cat hair?
It seems to be if you want to create great content, you need a cat with an attitude.
I think you're right, but for like the wrong reason. I think if you want to create great content, it's about filling the dead space. And as long as you've got a cat, there's no dead space. So
It's a fair
I
point.
don't want to talk. Oh, look, guys, we're going to look at Willow for 2 minutes. I want to go for a pee. Look, a cat.
And
Or she'll
the
do
other thing
something.
that you do, the other thing that you do as well, and you do it every day or every other day, is you on your Discord. And if you're not in Mike's Discord or Willow's Discord, join it. It's great. But you do your wee show and tell, and you
Yes.
do your pet picks. I mean, that is a wee boost for people as well. And you giving them a compliment or maybe telling them, oh, this is what you could do a wee bit better, or you're on the right track, and oh, look at your wee cattle, or look at your wee doggo. Like, if you watch a lot of streamers, it's a lot of streamers don't do that. There's only 2 or 3 streamers I can actually think of that would do, oh, let's do show and tell. Like, I know you do it. Mediocre Hobbies, the boy from Dublin that we had on,
Yeah.
he does it as well. I mean, that's important to keep that community engaged as well, I feel.
So it's kind of a three-pronged approach. Number one, I don't take breaks on stream. Very rarely I get a real break. I keep it going constantly. So for me, I can sit here and discreetly have a drink or a sandwich or a whatnot while I'm still doing it. So that's one thing. Number two, most important, currency, making people feel important. As a business, 100% something every streamer should be doing. Also, it's an incentive for people to be there at a particular time. That particular time is in the middle of my stream, which I then have the numbers going forward. So the Americans tend to be hitting about 8 a.m. at that time. So people are now setting alarms for my stream.
Yeah.
Who the fuck does that?
Yeah.
Like, that's bonkers to think about. Somebody is literally depriving themselves of sleep that they could have to come and watch me. Like, that's amazing.
Yehan wants us to let you know that he has Space Marine cats. You've probably seen Yehan at Salute. He is the guy that kicks about with the big black cat head.
Oh, okay. I can't really remember that long ago. I do a lot of resin fumes. But I will openly say this, right? Is it the ones that were on Cult, the Kitty Maids, or are these like your own ones?
I think they're always on.
Because
Like cats, say that he makes us just like Space Marines and then cat heads on top. It's like Thundercats, but in the 40k universe.
oh fuck yeah, Thundercat's my dude. Yes, but oh my god, but that kind of leads into the next thing I was going to talk about. The creativity of that is fantastic. It's simple. You put your cat heads on Space Marines, but look how many Space Marines there are. Jesus, look how many Space Marines there are. People aren't creative in this hobby anymore. Then they're not. There's no creativity left in this, or like statistically, percentage speaking, there's none. If you look at whatever the phase of the year is for YouTube, oh look, it's Slap Chop year. Oh look, it's this year. Everybody follows the same thing.
Yeah.
Games Workshop taught everybody to paint the same way. Until the content creators kicked in, it was all of that. Jehan, if you scroll down on my feed to about 2, maybe 3 months ago, you may see one of those cats. The content creators are just recycling ideas. They're all doing exactly the same shit. There's a few rules. Number one, Space Marines are most followed on Instagram. So you do Space Marines, you do well on Instagram. Simple as that. You do Warhammer. Warhammer brand shits on any other miniatures brand just by sheer social media and brand presence at all. So you do Warhammer, you'll be above the D&D and the Malifaux and all of that. God help you if you paint pro wrestling minis. And the rule is do what everybody else is doing, and then the algorithm will pick you up.
I'm going to just stop you there, Mike, for a second, because there's an opinion that I think I wanted to get from this stream from, I think, everyone. And it's something that I think it's been in my hobby mind for a minute. You've touched the nail on the head that there is no originality. Everyone copies each other. And at the moment, I have to say, it's the Gunpla thing, right? These have been knocking around for about 30 odd years, Gunplas. I picked up one donkeys ago that was from Evangelion, and it sat on my shelf for like 15 years, and I never bothered with it, and I was gutted that I never bothered with it. I sold it on eBay for like 40 quid. I bought it for 20, so profit after all that time. Sick. But it just seems like loads of people are jumping on this new bandwagon of, look, Japanese robots, ooh, Gundams, ooh, and it's just like, hang on, this ain't new. This has been knocking around for fucking donkeys. Where have you been?
Ah, boy. Believe it or not, this has nothing to do with Gunpla. Nothing at all.
No, I don't think it did.
There's a new import that is now bringing them to the UK, and it is simply because they're now available to be on shelves in our shops, that they are available and people are buying them. They have also put a lot of money or a lot of product into the hands of one side of the mini painting community.
Yes.
And they have put a lot of effort into a demographic of content creator, trying to be tactile when I say this, but there is a definite target audience for their influencer marketing, and they are pushing it very, very hard. Now, going back to what I said earlier, Wayland Games are now stocking Gunpla, with it being adjacent next to Warhammer, the casual fans are picking up on it more. The prices are better than Warhammer, and it doesn't have the social stigma of Warhammer. That's another one. And more importantly, and I think probably above all, is it's much more casual and entry level. Now, the rise of the Gumpler starlet, so to speak, is multi-pronged for those reasons, but moreover, they follow the same algorithms, so they piggyback off the others. They've got a lot of former Warhammer creators, so they're piggybacking off their audience. It's adaptable skill set, and they don't have to buy a 2,000-point army.
Yep.
It's the most natural handover of product A to product B, and the only one who is going to top that is Trench Crusade. That is the only other thing that is doing that. If you want to play Warhammer, but you don't want to play Warhammer, pick up Trench Crusade. We can use all the same buzzwords, we can use all the same influencers, all the same marketing, but it's not.
Yeah.
It's transient marketing. And it's, if you're buying that already, why not buy this? Oh, actually, it's easier to buy this. Oh, okay, I'll do that. But not being about the bush, there is definitely a 20s to 30s female influencer that they are repeatedly sending things to. Not one influence. If you look at all the people they send stuff to, it's that kind of demographic that they are shipping free product to influence others. When you then look at that, GW did the same. So it's either that they are slightly better people at marketing, or they're influence sales, or they're going to be the better algorithmically. Like, at the end of the day, people don't understand what we do as jobs, as promoters, as influencers. If you tell me, okay, Mike, I want you to sell this model, it's £10. And I go, fantastic, what are you paying me? And I go, okay, I am £200 for rent. So if you're selling those models at £10 a piece, you've got to sell 20 of them to break even. But that's not breaking even. You've got your manufacturing costs, your shipping costs, your production costs, everything else like that. So people go, oh yeah, £200 a fair price to promote these. It might be, but you're not going to make your money back as a small creator. Like, if you're a big company, you can write them off as whatever, feel free, whatever, it doesn't make a difference. So let's say for my £200 and for your £10 model, you make £2 profit. I suddenly have to sell 200 of them before you start making any money. And that's the reality of what we do. If I sell you something and I'm paid to sell you something, I have to make 10 times the amount they send. And that's the truth. Nobody's doing that on Twitch. None of them. Not one. Which is why we get into STLs, because selling STLs doesn't have to draw back the shipping and all the other stuff. So when people go, and I can't tell this story because it's not my story, but I'll tell a story adjacent to it. When you run a campaign to sell a product, promote a product, do something with a product, or you reach out to a company going, I am a streamer, I have an audience who will love this product and they will buy it. You should send me them all and I will sell them all for you. And they have 5 average viewers. Their mum, their nan, their own phone, and a couple of other people they may have picked up on the way. The delusion of what they have and their worth as a content creator is so unbelievable. A lot of these content creators, and I really don't want them to be bullying, I just really want them to change their mindset to going from a creation to going to a business. You don't realize what you actually have to bring to the table. The dissonance between the two is just so bloody massive, unbelievably massive. So I do want to kind of shake people and be like, hey, get on it. I'm giving you some good business here. But, if you've got I've got 4,354 followers. I have an average viewership of 66, which means I've got about 0.5% to 0.75% of people watching, and those people lurking. So that's probably half that. And then people who are actually paying attention, who are actually marketable, maybe 0.05% of people could actually be sold to at any point in time. So, yeah.
So I just want to deviate. I've got this question in my head, right?
Do it.
And this is a question to both of you, right? Because I was in the office today and I was sitting next to one of my female colleagues, and we had our granddaughter over in Sunday for a few hours, and I think I was close to convincing her that she was a robot that we made her in a factory and brought her home, right? And then I was telling my colleague that, and she said that her husband, it must be a husband thing because her husband told her sons that he won the X Factor back in 2007, right? What are the most convincing stories that you've told your children that they're probably close to believing if you pushed it a wee bit further?
Oh my God. We don't lick people for fun. That's on the list. Oh my God, no. Genuine stories, though. I'm a stepfather. I didn't birth this creature, but Jesus Christ, I've corrupted her. And she genuinely believes I have godlike powers. And it is very hard to say I don't. I'm just a bearded man who goes town to town spreading a message. And I have followers. I influence people and I spread the good word. And when you break that down, it is very hard to say to people, there might be a problem with what we do. And this goes back to the responsibility of streamers as well. People are very susceptible. There are a lot of people who are not far off children I've met on Twitch, not through age, but mentality. There are Jesus. But yeah, it's weird because my life is extraordinary. What I do now is very simple.
I like to tell tall tales as well. And
You love it all.
wee Mirren was over a couple of weeks ago, and she said that she's seen something in the spare room, and without missing a beat, I was like, "Oh yeah, that's Dave." And she's like, "Who's Dave?" And I was like, "Oh, Dave's the guy that looks after the house when everybody's sleeping." But he must have not heard you getting up, or he must have not realised that you were in the house. And she's like, "But what does he do?" And I was like, "He just makes sure that nobody comes in and like robs the house." And I can just see Jill, and she's sitting there like that, going, "Why? Like, why are you telling these mental stories?" And then Miriam was talking about Dave Geraldine and Sunday, and Geraldine's like, "Yeah, I told Dave he had to leave because he scared you." And she was like, "But he didn't scare me. I just didn't know who he was. Can you not invite Dave back?" And I was like, "Well, unfortunately, once Dave has been told to leave, he has to leave and he'll never come back."
I mean, I'm trying to think of like the part of the problem I've got is
You've told that many tall tales that you just can't remember
yeah, but this is the
which ones are true.
problem. There's so many things I do that sound like tall tales. Like like half the things that go on, people shouldn't believe, and they do. And a lot of them are completely truthful. Like, what if I told you your parents have probably seen me naked? It's genuinely true. There is a chance both of your parents, or both of your parents, have seen me naked.
Probably.
I was born in '93, right? And this is 100% swear on my cat the truth, right? At the end, I was born in April '93. Towards the end of '93, going into the early part of '94, I was on the international aired Huggies advert. I was a Huggies baby running around.
You were that bearded baby.
Yeah. It was weird, wasn't it? But you know, all the way down at the back, it was like a mullet meets back hair. It was brilliant. But yeah, I could tell you a story like that, and people would be like, "You were on international TV?" Yeah, I was. Yeah, you did all this? Yeah, I did. Yeah, and they're like, "No," and then I show them the advert, and they're like, "Oh, you changed?" So yeah, of course I'm 31 now. Like, but you know, like some other things people don't believe about me. I'm a grade 10 trampolinist. Like, I don't clearly do it anymore, but I do have a grade 10 trampolinist qualification. I've played on Twickenham Stadium doing rugby. These are all things I've done. And number one, my attitude puts me in places I should not be in. 100%. Sometimes when you say something confident enough to somebody else, you just end up in a position you shouldn't have been in.
Yep.
And sometimes it's really funny. Like the amount of times I've gone to a concert and I go, yeah, sorry, I'm actually just running a job for this guy. And they're like, yeah, just come through. Like, I paid for like 3 concerts in my life. It did help I had a mustache at 14. Like, but, you know, things like I've met the Queen on multiple occasions.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds extraordinary to an American.
I've actually danced. I had physical contact with Zara Phillips, and then she asked me out. I said no, and she went and married Mike Tyndall. That's a true story. Well, partly her asking me out, but I actually did the Gay Jordans or the Canadian barn dance, whatever you want to call it, with Zara Phillips back in Balmoral.
But this is the thing. I don't think people realise how small our island is. So if I turn around to somebody and go, oh, by the way, Rio Ferdinand, yeah, I used to look after his kids every weekend. People will go, that's unlikely. Well, actually, I work down the road from Prestbury, which is where all the footballers live. So it's not actually that unlikely.
Yeah.
Also, at the time, I was 19 and that was an entry-level job. So actually, it was quite likely. And people are like, but your country's so big. You're the Great Britain. It's like, no, America is much like people go grocery shopping the time it takes me to hit the borders, like of our island.
Yeah.
So people don't have this concept. So when you start telling people these stories, they're like, that's very unlikely. No, he literally shopped in my Waitrose. No, they literally do this. They quite often, and people can't believe it. Like, it absolutely baffles me. And some days I have this thing, it's called the audacity. And I just reach in places I shouldn't be reaching. I can tell you now that I have personal projects that I've worked on in the houses of at least 8 celebrities who are well known worldwide. And people won't believe that. Some of them I have NDA, so I can't disclose. Some of them are obviously all this. But yeah, my work gets out in these places. No, I don't believe you. You couldn't possibly do that. And it's like, have you ever tried just emailing somebody? A lot of people don't do this. If you find out who their agent is, or you find out who the representative company is, and you go, hey, I'm doing some fan art, I want to ship it the right way. Do you mind if I do XYZ? Or you're doing a project with this, I'm doing a project adjacent. Do you mind? Like, I used to join in with the writers' room of the Doctor Who comics from the Titan Press Publishing. I worked hand in hand with people who've worked on Marvel comics from the 60s all the way through to the late 2010s. And the number of fingers I've had in a number of pies is just outrageous. But then you think about it and you realise my attitude must have come from somewhere. And I've been told yes far more times than I've been told no. And the reason that happens is because I'm asking so many times for these things that I'm actually drowning out the negativity. Like, there is so much positive coming in, or so much of one thing and so much of another. It's genuinely really interesting to see that people are like, I don't want to message that company because they don't give a shit. And it's like, they might not give a shit, but it's not going to cost them anything to send you some free models. Like, if they're that big a company, they get lost on the wagon, or they were donated to charitable causes. Or they'll have some defects that they don't mind giving away. People don't care.
Yeah.
Like
we asked Army Painter, I sent out a plethora of emails basically asking for free shit. And Army Painter was one of the few companies actually get back to us and says, look, we're reevaluating sponsorship for things and blah, blah, blah. But sorry, but not this now. And I was like, that's fine. What's the chances about you coming on the Inquisition? And we actually had the tactical painter, Adam, from the Army Painter, come on stream with us.
Nice.
So, Casey, just before we get back into Mike's tangents, what tall tales have you told your child?
No,
that are just...
This is the madness. I chat so much shit to him on a regular basis. I can't fucking remember. The one that sticks out to me, no, it ain't mine. It's hers. She's got him convinced she's 21. And she's had him convinced that she's been 21 5 times. It's like, mate, she ain't 21. Yes, she is. No, she ain't fucking 21. And then my mum's jumped on the bandwagon, convinced him that she's 38. And I was like, she's not fucking 38. I just turned 40, you little shit. And, you know, it's just proper mummy's boy, proper nana's boy. So anything that the ladies will tell him, instantly in there, instantly believes it. And anything I say, You're chatting shit, Dad. Fuck off. It's like,
You've actually just helped me remember the one that I think my daughter may have fallen for. I don't think anybody knows how me and my partner met, and I don't think I know how me and my partner met anymore. I've told so many stories. Somewhere in the middle of it all, there is the truth. I don't know what version is the truth anymore. I have told, like, there's like a theme. There's a theme of truth, but that there is definitely some storytelling mechanics at play. So I'll tell you the story as I tell it, because this is how I remember it. She'll probably correct me. Anyway, I walked into this Comic-Con, and I was a member of the hosting team at the time. I used to do a lot of the con circuits, comparing, doing help behind the scenes. And I was dressed as Craven the Hunter. Now, this is back when I had abs. I remember those. They were lovely. And it was like a vest top with like a little jacket, a fur pelt, and all these other stuff, right? And we came across the room, and she was like, "Damn, son, you got a nice butt." And that's how I remember her introducing herself to me. And that's the story I've told my daughter. And that's the story everybody knows. And in some variation, I was the victim of her booty hunting. And that is repeatedly the story I have told. I can't remember if it went that way anymore. Like, based on her behaviour, I'm going to say it's true. But there has been variants of that story where I was on stage singing Blues Brothers. There have been times where it was the end of the day, the lights went down, I was packing away the tables. She turned the lights on, came back in and was like, "Hello." There's been all sorts. So I don't know if my daughter knows how I met her mother. Because I don't. Please don't make a clip of this.
We'll just make a clip of you saying, "Please don't make a clip of this," and we'll just put that again.
Put at the end of everything. So that might be the most believable, but there is something really weird about what I do, and kind of ties into that. It's the amount of my daughter has told other people about what I do, yet nobody knows what I do. It's like, yeah, my dad's a streamer. What does he do? He works with models on the internet.
What type of models?
I'm scared of Parents' Evening. I don't know if they think that Johnny Sins is going to sit down opposite them or something. I have no idea. But it's one of those things where it's just like, it's in the back of my head.
Yeah.
Like, does everybody know? And I've explained countless times what I do to my own family. They don't get it. I've explained it to my partner's family. I've explained it to strangers on the internet, strangers on the bus, strangers on the train. I'm very touch-starved. But also, it's lovely. It's amazing how much you can end up talking about this, and people are genuinely interested in what we do. And it is an absolutely like mad situation. So every time you tell the story, you end up putting a little flair on it, because my job is to be the Rizzler. And sometimes when those stories circle back to you, that's really funny.
It's like when people ask us, like, when I tell people, I do a podcast with a guy that I've never met, and they go, "What do you mean you do a podcast with a guy you've never met?" I says, "Yeah, like, we've never met each other, like, but how did you get to know him?" And I've actually figured out with the story that I was telling people was actually being a lie the entire fucking time. Because what the story I told people is that me and Casey, this is kind of how we connected. It's more or less 90% correct. Richard Inferno Monitors, or Alfonso, as his mum tried to say that his middle name was, he was running a painting competition, and what I said to people is that me and Casey were drawn against each other, but we actually weren't drawn against each other. I just commented on his model saying, "Hey man, that fucking thing that you've painted is fucking banging. Good luck."
I remember what it was.
And good luck in the rest of the competition. Even though we were both knocked out, the exact same round. And then that's how me and Casey got to know each other. It's just, but I told people that we were up against each other, but it actually turned out that we actually weren't up against each other. Which is,
I told people I met you in the army in Northern Ireland, and people believe it. So, everyone that knows me knows I haven't been in the army. So the fact that they believe in it is like, oh, fucking idiots.
Like, I remember my mum told me, I remember, like, growing up in the 90s, that the Ice Dream Wars was a big thing in Glasgow at the time, right? And I remember, I think it must have been about 14, 15, and I said to Mum, I says, like, Mum, what's this Ice Dream Wars all about? And she went, oh, what it is it's a bunch of guys, it's like two ice cream vans fighting over each other for Raspberry Ripple ice cream. And I was like, what? And she's like, yeah, it's like you know, you have like Pardusi's and you have Ian's Ices. And I was like, yeah, like only one ice cream van can sell Raspberry Ripple ice cream. So these two van companies are fighting over the rights to sell Raspberry Ripple ice cream. And I totally believed that for years.
Oh boy.
But
Um,
one of my favourite army stories I've ever told people, right? There's actually two, right? One involves me and one doesn't involve me. The one that involved me was like when we were doing our infantry training, we were told that when a mini flare goes up, it creates instant light, so you drop to the ground. That makes total sense. Drop to the ground, nobody's going to see you. They'll see you drop, but they'll not be 100% sure because it's night time. But when you fire a shimuli, you hear it, and then there's instant light after about 15, 20 seconds once it goes up, and then it's like light in a parachute. So my NCO told us this in the second phase of our training, and it's a practical joke that he would never, ever have seen, but it was setting up. So he says, once you hear the whoosh, what you do is, I've got it the wrong way around. When the shimuli is up, you drop to the ground. But when the mini flare goes up, it's instant light, so you don't have time to drop. So what you're best to do is pretend you're a tree.
Brilliant.
And start like slowly making your way down to the ground, right? So I was doing this, right? I was like 17 at the time, and everyone was like, "Oh, that makes total sense. That sounds that sounds right?" So I was in my battalion for a year at this point, and I'd been on many an exercise, and I was doing a course, and there was a nighttime attack or something, and the mini flare went up, and everybody dropped, but I was doing my whole pretending I was a tree and slowly making my way down, and all I heard was, "Who the fuck is that?" And I instantly knew right away that I had been played.
Mate, that's
absolutely
great.
played.
That's fantastic.
We had a bunch of cadets, and in the infantry there's like three types of crawl. There's the leopard crawl, there's the kitten crawl, and there's a monkey run. Now the kitten crawls are really small, like tactical move. The leopard crawls quite fast, and the monkey run is basically just you on your hands and knees. So we were demonstrating that, and the NCO went, "Who wants to demonstrate to the cadets what a monkey run is?" So my mate was like, "I'll do it," and I'm like, "Oh, brilliant!" So
He's done that, hasn't
he was like doing the whole monkey thing, and we just started pissing ourselves, and he knew right away that was it. He was like totally done, and he'd been doing that for 2 years, and nobody had noticed that he was doing this monkey run like for 2 years.
I had a person who you may have just shed some light on. About a week ago, I was asked to consult on a 3D printing job, and this was a lady who bought a 3D printer, and they couldn't get it to work, so they messaged me. Now, your story has inspired me to think this person isn't stupid. Somebody put them up to it. And they messaged me going, "Hey, Mike, my 3D printer won't print. I've asked it to print a house. It was a little model house. I think it was a model house. I couldn't remember. And it won't do it." And I'm like, "Okay, then. So is it putting out any material at all? Is it bonding to the heat bed? Is it doing anything?" "No, I keep asking it to print a house, and it's just not printing anything." You may have picked up on the operative word here.
Yeah.
And I keep going through the messages. I'm going, "Okay, we slice the file. Mike, I don't know what you're on about. I just keep asking it, print a house, and it won't do it." I don't know if it was me just thinking that humans were better, but it took me about 30 minutes to realise this woman was yelling at it like Alexa. And I don't know if it was part of me inside that died, or if the world just went dimmer. And I was so baffled. Like, I've never met somebody so stupid in my entire life. And that's a challenge. Like, I've met some people.
See when you said that. See when you said when she's saying print a house, I was instantly thinking of Star Trek, the one where they go back to Earth, And like Scotty's like computer, and they're like, no, you need to start printing. I was thinking like that somebody's always went, oh, you just need to say print house, and it'll print a house for you. The same as somebody says, if a mini flare goes up, pretend you're a tree, and then just slowly make your way down to the ground until after a year of doing this, somebody shouts, what the fuck? Who the fuck is that? And at instant, you just know right away the penny drops on. Oh man, he was taking a piss.
I hope somebody comes forward and says that story to me when I'm an old man and I can sleep like nicely in my casket, because that will haunt me forever. There are people like, you think the average person realise half are dumber than that. Like, that thing did that. We evolved to this. That's where we went.
We were doing our first tour in South Armagh, Northern Ireland, and we had a young piper with us, and we had to go. Somebody had to go and sign out the board games from the quartermaster. So he's like, where do I? And he was as thick as pig shit, right? He was solid, and it says, oh, you need to go back up the 3 flights of stairs, and you know where the big dead box at the parties are? Oh, aye. Go by that, go through the double doors, I'll go through another set of double doors. It's the door on the right, it says quartermaster, and sign out the Monopoly, the Cluedo, and the Scrabble, all the board games, because we need them for QRF. He's like, that's fine. 45 minutes to an hour later, like, where the fuck is this guy? He comes in with a big box of dead parties, and that thing weighed a ton, right? And he's like, what the fuck are you doing with them? And he's like, oh, I couldn't remember what you sent me for, but all I remember you saying was batteries. And he thought, and he's no, you go back and take them. He struggled down 3 flights of stairs with like a ton of batteries, and he had to then take them back.
I'll tell you what,
idiot, man.
I've got a stupid moment like that, and I'll own up to this. It was fucking dumb as shit. It was my first job I worked in Toys R Us.
I think
and
we all did, mate, according to our CVs now.
Yeah. I've got a keyring to prove it. It's immense. But this bottle of drink, fizzy bottle of Pepsi, froze in one of the fridges because the fridge was fucked. And someone said to me, oh, you got to throw that away. I was like, all right. And I was just being a stupid kid. I was like, should I empty it out first, or should I just put it in the bin? The guy was like, no, empty it out. Just go smash it against the wall and, it'll come out. And stupid me, what I should have just done was thrown it in a fucking skip at the back and not fucking thought about it. Because, it's going to go flat. It's fucked anyway. And so I walked into the back where the bin was, and I was like, okay, I've got to empty this bottle out. How do I do that? And this was pure, like, your dad telling you to lick a 9-volt battery if it worked. And I did that too. So I had this bottle of Pepsi, and I've just gone smack against the wall, and the fucker exploded in my hand. And it cut my hand to ribbons, and I'm standing there like, oh fuck. Loads of people on the loading bay are like, the fuck's that bang? Because they think like a gas canister's gone or something. They're all freaking out. The forklift might have blown off or something. And I'm standing there, claret coming out of my hand. I was like, I don't think it was meant to do that. And they're all looking like, what the fuck is wrong with you? He said go empty it here against the wall. And they're like, well, why didn't you undo the lid, you dumb fuck? It's like, oh. That was my dumb moment of life, and I was 18. I was probably hungover and drunk at the time. But
at 18,
yeah,
like, that's our dumb year. 18,
you get one free one at 18, don't you? So
it's like, life doesn't actually come together till after 22. Like 22 is statistically the most miserable year of every man's life, because they go, you're a real man now. You got to do real man things. You got to provide, and you got to do this, and you got to do that, and you sit there going, where were the instructions? And it all goes horribly wrong.
Yep.
But go back to things children believe and dumb things. This is one of my favourite stories ever working in children's entertainment. I'll tell this story till the day I die. I worked for a junior construction brick company, which I won't name for legal reasons, but they're pretty big. And a child went missing. Now, I'm trained in I am trained in animal handling. I am trained in small human handling. As part of a paediatric first aid, as part of a managerial course, etc., etc. The normal procedure is to not handle a child until you have to handle a child. So I had to follow this child around and have them follow me without handling them, unless something particularly tragic went down. So this child was in tow with me, and we were trying to find her missing mum. Now, bearing in mind, this is a closed building. There's no way they could have got out without going through various barriers and staff, and they're not allowed to leave the children. And I spoke to this girl who must have been about 3 years old, going, "Hey, darling, I'm helping you look for your mum, but I don't know what she looks like. What's her name? And how would I recognise her? She got bright hair. Is she tall? What's she wearing? Does she have a funny handbag?" Stuff to relate to a 3-year-old that doesn't cause panic.
Yep.
And this articulated as all hell 3-year-old. She goes, "Well, my mummy's blonde. Well, she's not really blonde. She's actually ginger, but she hates that I tell people that." Beautiful. That's the only bit of information I had throughout this whole treasure hunt for this missing parent. And I had to speak to this woman, look her right in the eye and go, "Are you secretly ginger?" And she went, "Yeah, why?" And I went, "You must be this child's mother." And bearing in mind they'd already hugged and gone, "Where are you?" the whole shebang. So it was a bit of fun. I love it when kids embarrass parents.
Kids.
If you imagine Scream as having 50 of those children, yeah, my viewers.
Yeah, there's nothing more embarrassing than having a child in a changing room in a swimming pool.
Oh, done.
And they see your bottom bits for the first time.
Oh.
"Dad, why is your willy so big?" Tell your mum that. Tell your mum that.
Like, I've seen some children say some like horrific things, never with malice, but horrific.
Oh yeah.
So is it? Brilliant.
Like, somebody asked my nan why she had a mustache like a walrus. That was great. I lived for that moment. I couldn't get on with it any other way. I used to get called Gorilla Man at my old job because children thought I was big and burly and hairy like a gorilla, and they never thought to think my name was Mike or Ask. There was one child, bless her little socks, she was about 2.5. She couldn't say Mike, so she called me Milk. Fine with that.
You've been called what?
I've been
We've all been
so
called
much
what?
worse.
Milk
So much worse.
Milk moans sound like you channel if you do bad coffee reviews.
Oh God. There's just the unbelievable, like, streaming is picking scabs. If you've got a vulnerability or something, they will go for it. They'll nick at you and they'll make a little mockery of it. Even their favourite streamers aren't safe. They will go straight for the bone marrow. They will dig and bore. Like, I stream to some naturally horrible people, and I want them to know this. Like, every vulnerability I have, they like to point out I'm in my 30s now and I need an ibuprofen to get out of bed. Like, didn't need to hear that. Thanks for that.
You're still a child, mate. Don't worry about it.
Right, Tangier is a big thing that's changed streaming, right? 30% of my income is now Tangier. Now, for those who aren't informed, Tangier uses GIFs, videos, AI voice lines, TTS, all these other things, and they all come together. People use bits to have Kermit the Frog tell me to lick his puppet hole. People pay bits to have Jim Carrey come up calling me a loser. And people are like, "Oh, Twitch content's gone to shit. Everyone's just making silly like fart references and this and this to get a giggle." It's like, when you see that 30% of my income is based on people using shitty little clips from sometimes Monty Python. There's a thing at the moment where it's a drawing like you trapped your penis in the car door. There's the Masked Salesman from Legend of Zelda, and all these things, and they're making me money.
Yeah.
So it's mad. It's people go, "Oh yeah, but streaming's just got too noisy. Nobody's doing anything calm and chill anymore. It's all bells and whistles." Well, stop paying me with it. 30% of my income. I work, right? I work my ass to the bone, right? I know exactly what I'm doing. All this brand and marketing and all this like actual grind and commissions and 3D print marketing, printing, shipping, everything. I do it all, mentoring, the whatnot. And the thing that makes 30% of my income is being bullied.
You know what? If they didn't like you, they wouldn't bully you. That's the way you got to think about it.
Exactly. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm in on the jokes. Like, it's not. But today was a special day. I sat through 4 hours of joking about my spending on Kickstarter. That was real, man. That was real. Kickstarter's too good.
Folks, I think it's probably best that we wrap it here because like we could go on and on for hours and hours. And Mike, I absolutely love having you on. Like,
Yeah, you're great.
I don't even think we asked you a question. I think we were chatting,
3?
and then I think and then that was it. I would love to have you back on next year sometime.
Yes.
I think we should make this a kind of regular Mike Moans Inquisition.
Next year, I'll be a partner. on Twitch, right? I'm going to tell you exactly what the next year looks like. By February, if I've not made partner, I'm going to be annoyed. I'm either going to make Twitch partner in February, probably March, but the actual work will be in February. If I don't make it by then, everything is changing. I'm restructuring from the ground up. I don't want Twitch partner, but I'm getting it because fuck people. I don't know if you know this, but they've stripped away all the good stuff about Twitch partner. But there is one thing that's still there, and it's the most useless thing. It's literally useless. It means nothing to anyone. You can make a stream team. Yay! And it means all the people I've mentored, all the people who've put time into me, all the people who've built up my Discord, which is one of the most amazingly active places, I can officially and publicly say, outside of a private Discord, these are the people who support me. These are the people who are going to go on and carry on what I've done. And I owe it to them to become a partner since I'm so close, so I can actually make that fully fledged. So a year from now, I am going to be doing pretty much the same shit, or I'm going to be doing different shit. I want to be having my own model line out there, which is currently work in progress. Currently, we have 3 designs out there, but we want 10 before I launch. I will be hosting online games. I will have a new studio, new camera setup. I'm hoping to move in with my partner by then, but let's see. And the big thing for me at the moment is I have now peaked. As of this week, I now have 5 3D printers. I have a full sponsorship to run said printers. I'm getting a new camera. I'm YouTube partner. I'm round the corner from Twitch partner. I've got brand sponsorship work 3 to 4 days every single week. The only thing I can do is get bigger of what I've already got. There is no more goals to hit. There is no more tech. There is no more nothing. I could do a better desk setup, but I'm limited by the room I've got. So whatever you see next year is going to be wildly different because I have no more excuses. I have every tool. I have the ability to turn down some work now so I can make time for things I want to improve. I have events. I've got community. We've got the first Moans meet. If anybody's in Manchester for Manchester Board Game Festival, come down, meet us all, play some Hero Quest, do some bitsy bobsies, and I'm going to be unstoppable for the next year. And it's going to upset a lot of people, and I'm going to lick their faces. I'm going to take every tear and I'm going to hydrate, and it's going to be great. And there will be a day, and I'm going to hope it's just before April, where I'm going to sit there on the top of a very small mountain, very small, molehill maybe, and I'm going to say, this is my mountain, I built this, and my homies, they're on my list. And that's what I'll be presenting to you this time next year.
Cool.
Yeah, well, I hopefully have you on before that, but
Yeah.
I was just want to say thanks for giving up your evening to the light. I know
Pleasure's all mine, mate.
you stream 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock every day, and it's a big ask then to come back on and at 7:30 and chat
You,
nonsense.
mate, I'll do it. Like I said, you guys are supporting me, so I support back. This is a great platform for me. I'm able to talk about things I'm not allowed to talk about normally. This is reaching out to people who haven't heard the stories. And for me, it's nice not to juggle 15 pieces of equipment, a cat and a model. So it means I can actually relax and talk to people, tell the anecdotes I want and promote the things I want to promote. So there you go.
Just
Lovely.
before you go, is there anybody you want to give a shout out to or anything? Or where can people find you if they don't already follow you?
If you don't already follow me on platforms outside of Instagram, the first place to follow me is Twitch, obviously. I'm there 5 days a week. YouTube is where the majority of my content is going to be transferring to as we are pushing to YouTube now. We will constantly be on Twitch, but YouTube is what brands care about, and that's where the future is going to be. If you are somebody who's interested in Dungeons and Dragons, that is definitely the place where you want to be because I'm doing all that. I've got a new video, hopefully going up in the next couple of weeks, about taking budget to bougie terrain. So I've been building terrain all the way up the scale from dirt cheap to monster pieces, and I'm going to be walking through how easy it is to go from step 1 to 30 in no time at all. The main thing, and this is a lesson for me and for every creator out there, if your creators are on Patreon or Ko-Fi, or Ko-fi, however you wish to do it, please do support them on there. Twitch has adjusted their payment rates. They've changed how Prime works, and we are getting probably the least amount of pay we have ever had from the streaming platform. So if you have third-party payment preferences, please do check out your favorite streamers and have those. I have Patreon. I will one day be moving it over, but not yet, to Ko-fi. Ko-fi is the better of the two. Very quick note, if you are a content creator and picking which one to use, go Ko-fi, go Ko-fi. They take a $5 cut every time you're paid. Patreon is 8% every time you're paid. So for me, 8% is significantly more than $5. So if you are setting up, go for Ko-fi. But yes, please support me on Patreon. Please support your other creators the same way on their platforms. It will help the economy of everybody who is making content for you guys.
And just one last question, and it's a simple yes or no if you can, right? Are you going to do another dodgy Dungeons and Dragons advent calendar this year?
I can't one word that because it's so good.
Right.
I have a handmade dice advent calendar, which I'm going to do daily shorts of. I bought another advent calendar that is so bad. I had a little peek of it because it was a little bit broken when it arrived. It's so bad I can't make content with it.
Just that is the content.
Appreciate how bad that is. So originally, that was going to be daily YouTube shorts, going through, open it up every day. Having seen it, I'm going to do one 10-minute video, and I'm just going to open up the lot. It's so bad. I like genuinely. Last year's bad advent calendar was maybe like a 3 out of 10. This is negative. Like, I can't tell you how bad it is. It's that bad. Like, you have to witness the horrors. So we've got the daily dice one. We've got the bad D&D one. I'm uploading a montage of last year's so people can recap without going through all the shorts. And I'm also doing a daily cheese opening on Twitch. So I have my cheese advent calendar, which people can use channel points to redeem. So I have a lot of advent calendar content for December. Yes.
Casey, any final words of wisdom from yourself?
No.
Perfect. Remember, folks, this is a double bill this week. We have Graham McNeil, the author, on Sunday, only because of his time schedule. So if you're watching Arcane Season 2, he has done an episode of 2. He's written an episode or 2 of that. I'm bashing my way through it this week as well. And yeah, if you're not following Orange Brushes, give Mike Moans a follow, and also enter our competition. We can win a free set of Orange Brushes, an audiobook of your choice, and a terrain piece that I have bought, painted. Well, I've not painted it, but this is the one that I bought.
Very nice.
I bought one for the competition. Details are on our pages. And again, folks, thanks for joining us this week, and we'll see you on Sunday.
Thank you for having me, guys.
Thanks again for Mike. Really appreciate it.
All the best, Jeff.
Love you.
Thanks.
Cheerio, guys.